Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Solidity podcast. This is Trey Honeycutt. I get to be your guest host. Very excited because we have a very special guest, Gianna Sipala.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Trey.
You're welcome. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
I totally practiced it.
Crushed it.
Perfect. So, for those that don't know, Gianna is killing it in the insurance profession. She's doing really good. She's one of my favorite agents of all time. And I just want you to share a little bit about your background, Gianna, and how you got started.
Yeah, of course. So before I got started in the insurance industry, I worked as a medical assistant. I was full-time there. I did that for about 10 years. And with COVID coming around, a lot of people were either getting in or out of the medical field. And it was my time. I was just kind of looking at other opportunities for a while, actually, because Marisa was in the insurance industry and we grew up very close together. So I was able to see her success with FFL. And I was like, really interested in what was going on. I'm like, what's that all about, And finally, we had sit down for dinner one time, and I just asked her everything. I was like, because I didn't want to feel like, I don't know how I wanted to go about it with her, because she had asked me multiple times, when she was with her practice company and then with FFL, if I wanted to get going. And I finally sat down, asked her a bunch of questions. She sent me the course, everything, and just kind of got started that way.
Well, I do have to interject here. People ask all the time what the proper recruiting strategy is, and you just got to understand that it's just personal timing. She'd mentioned it to you before, but it just wasn't the right time.
Right.
And the best thing you can do if your goal is to build an agency is just to start conversations with people and then go work. And then as long as you do it long enough, people will come back around. The right people will show up. So yeah, that's a good story. So you didn't just quit your job cold turkey and jump into this full time.
No, I didn't.
So what did that process look like for you?
So I knew I needed structure starting a new job and learning a new skill. So I just took advice from, my upline, Marisa and Christina. They told me, if you want to be in the business, have 3 consecutive days, mm-hmm. right? So I picked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday I'd be in the office with the team dialing for Friday, Saturday, mm-hmm. And I would be in the field.
Love it. And you just went to go see people?
Yeah, and home.
Did you drive far to go see people, or were you able to get leads around where you were? Or?
Yes. Yeah. So I drive anywhere between maybe an hour, for 20 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Well, that's not bad at all.
No.
Perfect. So how long were you part-time before you decided to go full-time?
6 months.
Okay. And then what made you make the decision to finally go full-time? Was there a certain income you had to hit or a certain amount of money saved? Or?
Right. So I had a certain threshold I wanted to hit part-time. And I had hit that 3 months in working with FFL. Okay. So I had hit 10 families part-time. And that's really kind of where I wanted to really kind of go full-time with it. But with my job where I was working at, we had a lot of turnover with COVID and a lot of people working. They couldn't get people to stay. Mm-hmm. So I, just felt not that I owed them time, but I just didn't want to leave them high and dry and drop them.
Right.
So, I worked a time frame with them where it was going to work out, hire some people, train them up. And then when the beginning of the year of 2023, that's when I was all right, that's when I'm going to do my first full year in the business.
Mm-hmm. And it's been going good so far, yeah?
Yeah.
Good for you. So you run predominantly leads from the ILC?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the most amount of families you've helped in a month?
I think it was 23. 23,
okay. So what were some things that you feel like new agents working that type of lead, what are some things that they need to understand that'll help them have the success you've had?
Yeah, definitely door knocking the leads if you can't get them on the phone, mm-hmm. right? Cycling through those leads too, at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, right? Because you're just probably getting them at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. So anybody I dial in the morning, I'll recycle through 1 or 2 more times at the end of the day.
Oh, I love that. That's good. And then you door knock them if
you
can't get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
When you door knock, what do you say?
So I go to the door. I usually have my state license out and a copy of the lead with me. So they get to see my state license right away. It's on the clipboard, and I'm go ahead and just go like, hey, my name is Gianna. I'm your state field underwriter. You had filled out this form for the license, state license, state regulated life insurance information. And they look at it. They say, yeah, I filled that out. Either we book an appointment, and there's a few times where I've like gone right in and sold.
Got it. So when people tell you they don't remember filling it out or they didn't, what does that look like?
So if I'm on the phone with somebody and they say they don't remember filling it out, I'll either say like, hey, do you mind if I send you a copy of that request form that we had sent in? It was a few weeks back. I can understand that you don't remember. I sent that over to them, and sometimes they'll text me right back or call me like, oh, actually, I did fill that out. And I do remember that. Okay.
Do you feel like some people just use that as a smokescreen to just get you off the phone because they don't want to deal with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And they'll do that no matter what kind of lead it is, by the way. You learn that. Like my go-to thing is like somebody calls that's trying to sell me something on the phone. And I'm just like, my dad's not home right now. He's not here. You're looking for my dad. He's not home. I'll have him call you back.
Right? You know? She doesn't live here. That's the wrong number.
That's right. We didn't do that. We're all set. Whatever. You know, because it's easier to like say something and hang up. It is just to hang up, I guess. But so you door knock the leads that don't answer. What's your appointment goal for the week? Like how many do you try to book?
Every dial day I try to book at least 16.
Okay. And then how do you book them? Is it every hour on the hour? Is it every 30 minutes? Is it every hour and a half?
So it's like mostly every hour or every hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Do you try to build do you build drive time in? So like if one's in one place, do you try to set the other one 30 minutes later, or do you just tell them, hey, I'll be here between this time and this time?
I usually give a window, so be between this time and this time.
And that's good, right?
Yeah.
So, and I always like that too, because my whole deal was I'd rather have more appointments and me no-show them than not have enough appointments and get no-showed and have like 3 hours in the middle of the day where I can't get into something.
Right.
Do you take your leads in the field to dial with you in case people don't show up?
Yes.
That's smart.
Yeah, so Marisa and me have been kind of like going back and forth. She's like, do like a 2-in-1. So every one door knock you do, you have to call 2 people and speak to 2 people.
Wow.
So after, in like, that's in the field too. So like, say you have like a list of door knocks, maybe I have like a list of like 5 door knocks every run day. Right. So I'll do 1 door knock and try to get on the phone with 2 people, talk to 2 people. And then go to the next home or next door knock if I get no-showed.
I've never heard that before. That's smart.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It keeps it fun.
Yeah, it does. Well, and that's the thing. Doing in-home makes it more fun. Like I couldn't imagine, and nothing against telesales. Like if people want to do telesales, we have the systems for you to do it. But dude, that was never for me because I was always just like, I just want to go see the people and get away from my phone. You know, like I'm out, and then you meet really cool people and they're nice to you. You know, and every once in a while you get one that maybe isn't so nice, but whatever.
Right. But they're like good clients too. They're like the best ones.
Yeah, sometimes they are. Like my best, okay, I'm going to tell you all this. So my best client of all time was, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on her name. Her name was Shelly. That was her name. And I drove an hour and a half to get to her house. And I pull up to her house and I park in front of the neighbor's house, okay? On the sidewalk, on the curb. This is California. Y'all have like parking meters everywhere here. Like wherever you are, they probably have parking meters. But in California, it's just like sidewalks, you park on the sidewalk. So I go up to her house. I'm sorry, her name was Susan. I knew I'd remember the right name. Susan. Redheaded lady, about 5 feet tall. She opens the door, and the screen door is right there, and all I could see is her silhouette. And she goes, "Are you an effing idiot?" Like she's going off on me. And I go, "Why?" And she goes, "I've been yelling at my neighbors for 14 years about parking in front of my house. And you show up to my house and park in front of their house. What do you think that makes me look like? It makes me look like a freaking hypocrite." And I go, "I'm sorry, I'm just not very good at parking." "Well, there's a driveway. Why didn't you park in my driveway?" And I go, "Well, in case my car leaks oil, I didn't want to leak oil in your driveway." And she goes, "I don't care how much oil your car leaks. can you move your freaking car? And I'm like, yes. So I went and I moved it. This woman's in her 70s, okay? She's a mean lady, 70-some years old. So I'm like, okay, I moved it. And I go back up to the thing and I'm like, I moved it. And she goes, great. How long is this going to take? I go, it's going to take 5 minutes. She goes, okay, come in. So I go in and on her, she has a sliding glass door, you know, like one of the ones that slides open. And on the sliding glass door, you know what a fat head is? It's like they used to do it with like sports figures where they put like a life-size person. Like if you had like a fat head of Shaq, it would be like that whole wall, right? But it's like a life-size person. And he's sitting, you know, it's glued to the thing. And it's just a normal looking dude. And I'm like, who's that? And she goes, that's my dead husband. And I go, I'm sorry. And she goes, and today's our anniversary. And I go, Susan, is that why you're so mad? And she goes, yes. And I go, I'm so sorry. And she goes, sit down. So I sit down at the table. She goes over to the refrigerator and she goes, you want a steak? And I go, sure. So she opens up the refrigerator and she pulls out a steak and then she's like bent over the refrigerator and she's like, crap, I only have one steak. You want a sandwich? And I go, yeah. And then she started laughing. And from that moment on, I mean, I helped her grandkids, I helped her kids. She became one of the best clients I ever had. And that was such a difficult appointment in the beginning. Right. You know, but you just got to be patient with people. I don't know what I don't know why I told you that, but it was entertaining for me to relive it with you. But,
I love it.
But that's what happens when you go see people face to face. You meet all kinds of characters, you know. And like you said, sometimes those are the best ones. So, I don't know. What's your favorite appointment if you were to look back?
The favorite appointment I had, okay, so very similar where I got into the home and they were like checking me from every angle, right? Yeah. I always put my state license on the table and it was an old lead. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like the lead was aged out, I want to say over 6 months. Nice. So not too bad, but it was aged out. And I had gone out there and we had just connected. You know, he was like, oh, I appreciate that. No one's really took the time out to explain who they are and what they're here to do. You know, you show your license, you're comfortable with yourself. I just kind of went in with confidence and I went in there and it was a lead for, his name is Mark and his girlfriend was there and she wasn't listed on the form or anything like that. I was kind of taken off. I was like, oh, are we doing it for both you guys or just one? And it was just for him. You know, she was just there kind of like second person watching in and overseeing everything. And, you know, at the end of everything, you know, we got him signed up with Amerigo, great policy. And then she had called me like a few months later after her sister passed away or was sick. She was, you know, going through it. And she goes, you know, I don't want my kids to have to go through that. And she just like appreciate what I went there for, like to help Mark because he was like a wall. Yeah. You know, he didn't want to, you know, go through it. You know, he was kind of, I feel like it was just break through that barrier when I first got there and just kind of like found some common ground, you know, just like make it personable about them. And yeah, they ended up being a great client. She's bringing me her daughter. Yeah. I got to meet her 2 kids out of the beneficiaries. She brought them along to meet me. So yeah, that's like one of my favorite appointments, I have to say.
Yeah, I was talking to Aphrodite and she said that what she does for referrals is she has them take a picture or send the contact information to the beneficiaries. Do you do that?
The picture of like us together? Yeah. No, I don't do that. That's a good one.
So she takes a picture and then she basically sends the picture to the person with her contact info and says, hey, I need you to forward the contact info to your beneficiaries and let them know who I am.
Perfect.
And she says that totally opens the door for referrals. Like, you should try that. Yeah. If I go run some appointments, I'm going to try that.
Right.
I'm actually excited about running some appointments to see how that works out. So, yeah, I love it. You know, doing in-home sales with life insurance, you definitely meet some characters for sure. And it's memorable, you know?
Yeah.
So as far as like, do you think, what's the hardest part about doing this, do you think?
I think the hardest part about doing this is, I mean, it's really not that hard, right?
Yeah.
You know, you do it enough, like becomes easy. But I feel just like I don't I don't want to say be alone, right? Because like I'm never alone. I can always reach out to somebody. But when I'm like in the field sometimes and I'm having a bad day, like that can be hard because I'm just me, myself, and I. Right?
Just driving around Connecticut.
Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, yeah. That's right.
You know, so if like I get no-showed, it's like mindset, right? Because it's like I can start the day feeling great, and then it kind of one person I get no-showed, or I go in and it's like a no sale, right? It's kind of like just bouncing back. It's like leave that on Friday. Now tomorrow I have a full schedule, right? So that can be something that I can feel be hard because I mean, we're all human.
Yeah, that is the hard. I think that's the hardest part too. But when it changed for me is when I realized that like they're not connected. Like you could have 4 or 5 in a row that is just totally awful, and you show up to the next one and they'll buy everything you have, and they're waiting for you, you know. And once you have that happen enough times where like it's a bad day, but you show up to the last one and they buy it, you're just like, oh, this was all meant to be, you know. Because there's not a problem that, you know, helping 10 families won't solve in a week, you know. You know, there's not a problem where like, and Andrew Taylor used to tell me this all the time. Excuse me. He would run, you know, 25, 27 appointments every week. And he would say, look, my goal is to sell 6 of them. He goes, sometimes it's the first 6, and sometimes it's after the 21 that told me no, it's the last 6. Yeah. And he goes, what I learned how to do is just be the same. And he really did master that, where he was literally, you couldn't tell if it was the first 6 or the last 6 because he'd just show up the same to all of them. And because he had enough appointments, it worked out, you know. Having enough appointments really is what it's about. Because if you only have 5 appointments and the first 4 don't go so well, on the last one, you're like hugging their leg. You're like, please buy it. I need you to buy this, you know.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't want to be ever in that position. No. So the answer is just have more appointments.
More appointments, yeah. And sometimes I look at my schedule and say like I look at my sales and I'm like, well, I just don't have enough appointments. You know?
That's what it is. Well, you in particular, I mean, you run a lot of stuff from internet leads to old Final Expense, old Facebook, just diversifying your lead flow so you do have enough. I think getting leads is a skill, and that's like one of the things that you develop over time is you get good at getting leads. Like you got to get good at setting the appointments, you got to get good in the home, but you also got to get good at getting leads. And what I see a lot of people mess up is the lead strategy they start with in the beginning, they try to stick with that for like 2 years. Like it should always be evolving. You should always be getting better at it. And it makes it more predictable and easier to do over time. What are some, so if I'm a brand new agent and I wanted to get started with you part-time, how would you coach me?
I would definitely want to see like what their expectations are, like what they want to get out of this, like how much money that they want to make, right?
Yeah.
I would want to help them like buy their like leads as well, right? And just kind of like set the expectation, like, you know, are you going to be in home? Do you want to do telesales? Like, what's that going to look like? What days can you work, right? When can you dial? Can you come into the office and dial with us? You know, or are you able to plug into it like a Zoom or a dial team? That's how I would just kind of like set that up for them, depending on where they're at.
Is that what Marisa did with you?
Yeah.
So when you first got started, she was like, hey, come dial with us on Thursday.
Yeah.
Got it. If you didn't do that, what would have happened, do you think?
I don't know if I would have been able to stick it out as long as I did.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, until I don't know if I would have stuck it out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have made it past the first 2 weeks.
If I just was dialing from home and did it by myself, you know.
Calling your first 10 people and 6 of them hang up on you and you're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, that wasn't that good.
Right. Call 10 and 9 hang up on you. Yeah, that's how it usually goes. And the isolation thing, you know, that drives a lot of people out. But you did the right thing. You got control of your environment, and you got in front of folks and stayed with them. When you're in the home, do you get a lot of objections?
Not necessarily.
If you do, which ones do you get and how do you overcome them?
I usually get, I don't want to give you like my bank info, or they don't want to give like a social, right? And I just tell them like, well, with your social, like how we do, it's like all data points, right? So they want to make sure you are who you say you are with your bank account information. They're going to look that data point up that no one's trying to get insurance in your name, right? They want to make sure, like, because believe it or not, like I always say, like, people try to get insurance on people who are deceased. So we just want to make sure all these data points check out before we're able to issue a coverage. Sometimes they come around, sometimes they don't, right?
Right.
That's an objection I get sometimes, or I want to think about it. And when people say that I want to think about it, I've been saying lately, like, I'm really hard with like objections and like being, not hard, but like, I like aggressive in the home. So I've been starting to like look at people, like especially the older folks that don't have no coverage. It's like, okay, if I leave here today, like you feel comfortable passing away with no coverage and leaving that burden for your children, right? Because like they went through the whole thing with me. They say they got to think about it. Are they really going to sit with another agent and go through the whole spiel again? They might not, right? So I feel like I have to do my part and like still almost like push for that. You know what I mean? Because like I still care about their family. Because I could only imagine like if that was my mom, right? And she passed away with no coverage, what is that going to look like for me? Or my nephews, if my sister and me had to put together a fund for, her burial.
Right.
So, that could be tough. I had a few people come around, they were like, oh, you're going to think I'm crazy, but let's just do it.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like, that's where it gets, getting good at getting uncomfortable in the house when that comes up is what will make you, that's what actually makes you as a producer. That's how you get really good at it. And just understanding that sometimes it's going to get to that and just learning how to push through it. And I would always set it up with saying, hey, I don't like this part, but if I didn't address what you're saying, I wouldn't be doing my job.
Right.
And here's the thing, like for me, Gianna, I mean, this is not a transactional deal for me. I mean, if you don't get it or you do get it, it doesn't really affect me financially that much at all, but it could really hurt you. And because I care, I'm getting ready to challenge you on this, okay? And they'll say, okay. And I'll say, so when you say you want to think about it, is it the money? Is it just too much? Is it not enough coverage? You don't like me? My breath smell? What is it? And I'll just let them open up, and then, and then make it uncomfortable and say, look, nobody likes this. No, it's never a good time for a new bill. But if you don't get it, this is what it's gonna look like for your family, and that's what you said you didn't want. So why don't we do this? Let's just put the policy in place and let you sleep better at night. I won't take no for an answer, whatever I say. But just having the guts to say something, because it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And a lot of it is just whether or not you say anything at all. I mean, you'd be surprised how many agents, somebody just says, hey, we want to think about it because it's a conditioned response. And then most agents are just like, oh, great. Well, yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow then, because they don't want to push them. But if you can just get good at just, all right, well, here's another thing I would say. Once you think about it, which way do you think you'll go? Like, once you think about it, which one would you pick?
Right.
And people are like, oh, that one. I mean, it's the funniest thing ever. Like, can't really make any decisions right now, Gianna. But if you were to get approved, which one do you think would be the best one for you? I don't know. We need to think about it. Okay, well, once you think about it, which one do you think it would be? And they'll say, oh, this one. Okay, great. Get your driver's license. It's funny how that works. You got to try that.
Okay, I love it. I will.
That's my best pointer. So any parting words for people looking at getting into the industry, maybe part-time, full-time, somebody that started out part-time has transitioned, really seen everything you could see? What do you have to say to those people?
I would have them, just like come on out, try it out. Go to a business meeting, connect to people that are like in the business, ask questions, anything that's like lingering in your mind that like you don't know, just go out and ask somebody that's been doing it.
Yeah. And if somebody wanted to reach out and work with you, because I know everybody watches the Solidity podcast, how would they get a hold of you?
So they can reach out to me on Instagram. My name is Gianna.Sipala, or Facebook, same name.
Perfect. All right. Well, you guys heard it here first. If you want to get involved in the insurance profession, reach out to Gianna. She's one of the best ones you could work with. And you guys make it a great week. Thanks for jumping on this. You're a great guest. We'll have to do a round 2.
Thanks.
Unfortunately, they won't let me go for like 2 hours, and I feel like we have another 2 hours we can talk about this stuff. So we'll do a part 2 and 3 coming up. You guys make it a great week.